Hey everyone, welcome to Inside Indiana Overtime, the last one that we'll have during this football season. I'm Alex McCarthy here at Yankee Stadium, where Indiana lost to Duke in overtime, 44-41. I've been covering this team for 5 years, which I understand is nothing compared to how long some of you have been rooting for this team and watching this team. But it's kind of incredible every time that I think I've seen a strange game. It gets a little bit stranger. Today, it was kind of similar to, I guess, Indiana's game against Michigan earlier this year. It's kind of similar to Indiana's game against Ohio State earlier, where it's just back and forth all game. Obviously, this went to overtime, just like the Michigan game. But one of the strangest endings that you're going to see this bowl season, maybe one of the strangest endings you're going to see in a long time, where Griffin Oak's kick in overtime that would have sent it to a second overtime went over the right upright and was ruled, that wide, and that it couldn't be reviewed. Obviously, that was one of the big talking points after the game, but Kevin Wilson kind of downplayed it. He said that there are a number of mistakes that Indiana made leading up to that and throughout the game, that that wasn't why Indiana lost. It was because Indiana gave the ball away a number of times. They started out very, very slowly. They went scoreless in the first quarter for, I think, just the second time this year. And even late in the game, the offense kind of started clicking. Devon Redding had a huge game, had over 220 rushing yards, set the Pinstripe Bowl record for rushing yards like halfway through the third quarter. So he had a huge game. Jordan Howard didn't play. But even when the Indiana offense started clicking, there were still moments during this game where they just didn't execute enough. They didn't make the plays they needed to make, namely late in the game when Simi Cobbs couldn't hold on to a pass from Mitchell Page, which was kind of strange. It was on a reverse, one of those trick plays, and it actually kind of worked, but Cobbs just dropped it in the end zone. Indiana settled for a field goal, and obviously when you miss 4 points, I guess, that you could have had on a possession, and then you go into overtime, obviously those are kind of come back to haunt you. So it's kind of a game that was, it's a typical, I guess, performance for Indiana this year. They were very, very close, but didn't have it at the end. They were leading. They maybe should have won. They couldn't stop Duke on the last possession of regulation. Duke converted on a third down and then a fourth down. And then with 41 seconds left, excuse me, Thomas Sirk, the Duke quarterback, dove into the end zone, tied the game at 41. And then Indiana drove down, moved the ball fairly well, and Griffin Oakes missed a 56-yarder wide left, of course, before he wasn't able to connect on a 38-yarder in overtime. So, there are a number of positives to take out of this game and this season for Indiana. One of the best offensive seasons in school history in terms of, the best, I guess, in terms of points and yardage. This is the first time in Indiana history where two Indiana running backs had over 1,000 yards rushing. Devon Redding hit that mark tonight, obviously joining Jordan Howard. And it was a game where Indiana got contributions kind of from everybody. Luke Timian, who was a transfer from Oklahoma State, walk-on, had his first career touchdown. Alex Rodriguez had his first career touchdown, which of course everybody had a lot of fun with here at Yankee Stadium. And Nick Westbrook had his first career touchdown. So a ton of positives for Indiana tonight. They forced a few turnovers. They played well at defense in stretches, but then again, big plays plagued them. They gave up scoring runs of 85 and 73 yards and a kickoff return of 98 yards. So that's been a problem really for years for Indiana, and of course all season, and it still kind of stuck with them and beat them tonight. So in a way, this game kind of sums up the season for Indiana. They finished 6-7, but you look at a play this way, a play that way, could have changed the season. They could have won a few more games, but in the end, Indiana didn't make those plays, and that's the next step that this program needs to take. A lot of question marks during the offseason in terms of replacing some key players, but they bring a lot of young talent back. So it should be an interesting offseason, interesting spring, and we'll be covering it all, of course, at Inside Indiana. And basketball season is just about to get a little bit more interesting as Big Ten play starts in a few days. So thanks for watching. Thanks for following along all season. We'll have some continued kind of retrospective stuff in the next few weeks, and off-season updates, recruiting updates leading up to signing day. It's about to get very interesting. So thanks again for watching. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to eventually make the trip back to Bloomington. But for now, I'm Alex McCarthy from Yankee Stadium, which I didn't really expect to say this season. Thanks for watching, and we will talk to you soon.